Hello everyone. So as promised, let's go into the basics of Oracle data card. After which we will in our next video we will be implementing the data card from and then the basic troubleshooting features means if archive log gap is high, its archive logs are missing, how to troubleshoot those, we'll be seeing those switch over, failover, everything. So let's go with the basics of data card first. Today's agenda is the theory and the reality. Let's go with the theory. Data guard, what is it? As the name suggests, it's guarding the data. Means there will be primary and a physical standby database. The primary database, let's say it's in Chicago, and the secondary database, let's say it's in Japan. So if any sort of natural calamity, any sort of natural disaster, any sort of disaster caused by human error happens, then at least your data will in Chicago, then at least your data will be safe at Japan. So your business won't be hampered. There won't be there won't be loss of data, and your business won't be hampered. You will be safe from your side. Not only this, if your server crashes somehow, then also at least one of the warehouses, one of the databases will be up to give you the full service. See, as you can see here, site failures, air conditioning, power failure, flooding, fire, damage, storm, hurricane, earthquake, terrorism, sabotage, plane crash, plant maintenance, human error. So the databases in a data card, these are connected by Oracle Net. These primary and standby databases can be managed using SQL command line interface or the Dataguard Broker. I'll go into depth with the Dataguard Broker later on. So what is this? This is the primary database. Here what we are doing, this is site 1, let's say this is Chicago, and this is site 2, let's say this is Japan. The redo logs are being applied from the primary database to the standby. So whatever changes are made in here, those are reflected in here. Now we have two Dataguard database can be standby database can be of two types. One of them is physical standby and the other one is logical standby. What is physical standby? This has been introduced in Oracle 7.2 and marketed as Dataguard in 8.17. Physical standby is identical copy of the primary database. This is kept synchronized with primary DB through redo apply, which recovers the redo data received from the primary. This can be used for business purpose other than disaster recovery. Along with this, we can switch operations to standby through planned switchover, switchback, unplanned failover. Next is logical standby. What is logical standby? It's been introduced in 9.2, Oracle 9.2. This contains some logical info as the prod of the prod DB, although the physical organization and structure of the data can be different. How it is being synchronized? This is synchronized through SQL apply, which transforms the redo data from the primary into SQL statements and then execute them on standby. Using this sort of logical standby database, Oracle database software and patches can be upgraded with almost no downtime. Thus, this logical standby can be used concurrently for data protection, reporting, and DB upgrades. These are mostly needed if you want to check something, if the application team wants to check something for these purposes. So, what are the benefits of using a physical standby and a logical standby? Physical standby is for disaster recovery. Let me open this. First, you can say disaster recovery and high availability. Next, data protection. Reduction in primary DB workload. Performance. Logical standby. Used for auditing and reporting purpose. Efficient use of standby hardware resources. Again, reduction in primary DB workload. These are the advantages. So, next let's quickly move on to the protection modes. We have three protection modes in Dataguard. One is maximum protection, maximum availability, and the other is maximum performance mode, which is the default. What is maximum protection mode? In this mode, it ensures that no data loss occurs, zero data loss. The redo data needed to recover each transition must be written both to online and standby redo log before the transaction completes. So, to ensure no data loss, the primary DB shuts down if a fault prevents it from writing to redo stream. So, it is protecting the data. If anything happens, then the primary database will be shut down. But this mode is not suitable for mission critical systems where availability is the main thing. Synchronous redo is transported synchronously to the standby database, but to ensure protection of the data, there will be availability issue in this. For this maximum availability mode you can go for. This is same as maximum protection mode, only primary database won't shut down and will run in maximum performance mode if any fault occurs while transmitting the data to the standby database. Maximum performance mode. Maximum performance mode, this is a default mode. Here as this is the default and this is the asynchronous mode we are using. This provides highest level of data protection without affecting the performance of the system. This is accomplished by allowing a transaction to commit as soon as the redo data need to recover that transaction is read into the online redo log. If no standby database is available, processing continues on primary. But data protection is not highest level. As I told earlier, it means it should not be at the highest level of performance, since it's not waiting for the redo to get applied on the standby database. To get deep into this redo log shipping and all, next is Dataguard redo log shipping. First of all, let's go through this. What are the background processes? LGWR log writer, LNS log network service. I must to put LNS. Okay, it's here. Archive process, redo transport service, RFS. On the standby databases we have RFS, remote file server, again archive process. MRP, it's not maximum retail price, it is managed recovery process. If it is logical standby, then we have LSP other than MRP. MRP is not present in logical standby, it is LSP, which is logical standby process. Another fetch archive log. So these two processes are the only difference between logical and physical standby. In physical standby we have MRP process running, in logical standby we have LSP process running. What is online redo log? Physical standby database don't use this online redo log as they are not in read write mode. Remember, in standby databases will be in mounted mode or read only mode. If it's active data were configured, then it will be in read only mode. So they don't require this online redo log. Archive redo logs, this is used to keep this standby databases transactionally consistent with primary database. And the standby redo logs similar to this online redo logs, except that the standby redo log is used to store redo data received from another database. See here what happens. The primary database through LGWR, it is writing to online redo logs. The archive, it's archiving the to archive redo logs. It's sending to through LNS. It's sending to remote file server. This fetches the data. Then through MRP, this is archive redo transition. So MRP process comes in here. Those have been archived and then it's been applied to the standby database. In LGWR, here what it is doing, from here itself, from the online, it's not taking the archive redo log. From the online redo log itself, through log network services, it's transferring to remote file server, and then the same process occurs. And in here, in sync mode, it's directly sending. It waits for the connection and then takes place. Dataguard role transitions, these are switchover, failover. Switchover, as the name suggests, if you are going for any planned maintenance and activities, then the primary will be, and the primary needs to be taken under maintenance for any cause, then we are switching it over to standby. This is planned failed over to standby database. Original primary becomes new standby and the standby becomes primary. No data loss, can switch back at any time. Failover, this is when some disaster occurs, anything. This is unplanned failover. Original standby becomes the new primary, possible data loss. See, before switchover it is like this. Site 1 is the primary, site 2 is the standby. After switchover, site 1 becomes a standby and this is the primary. In failover, site 1 gets, this is before failover, this is like this. After failover, site 1, due to some unavailable circumstances, this gets down and site 2 becomes the primary. The switchover, here the two standby value, TO standby value in the switchover indicates that it is possible to switch the primary to the standby role. Dataguard read-only mode. Physical standby can be opened in read-only mode. Managed recovery must be suspended. This is partially not true. What is Dataguard Broker? This is a distributed management framework that automates the creation, maintenance and monitoring of Dataguard. This can be used to create and enable Dataguard configurations, including setting up redo transport and log apply services. This can manage and monitor entire Dataguard configuration and simplify the switchover and failovers. This is for Dataguard. You can go through it. We have active in Oracle 11g, we have snapshot standby and active Dataguard. Snapshot standby, what is this? This standby can be converted to snapshot standby and can be opened in read-write mode for testing. Snapshot standby will be syncing this with the primary once in 24 hours. Redo transfer continues, but the redo apply is delayed. That's the thing. Standby can subsequently be converted back to physical standby. What is active Dataguard? this is a licensed option and you need to buy it. Updates are applied to the primary. Changes can be read immediately on the standby, and standby database redo can continue to be applied. This is what I was talking about. In active data guard, we have redo. We have the database in read only mode. Let's So data card alternatives, those will be standard edition, it's manual lock shipping. Let's go with the licensing ones. You can go through this. I won't be going in deep with these things. Let's go through the licensing one first. Then standby database should be fully licensed so that you get Oracle support. But in standard edition, you cannot use Dataguard to get the licensing feature. In enterprise edition, you can use Dataguard, but for additional licensing is required if you are going with active Dataguard. You can go with this. In reality, many sites run physical standby itself, because logical standby in most environment you won't be seeing logical standby is running. In most of them, physical standby is only running, because streams is much popular than logical standby. Oracle streams I'm talking about. Failover times, normally it is dependent on the management decisions. Time to failover database is minimal, 5 to 10 minutes. Although it depends upon the network configuration, the data, and many more infrastructure. From infrastructure level, many more things are there. So we are done with the data card basics. Rest with the commands and all you will be seen when we install the database, when we create the physical standby, and then the failover switchover activities, or if archive log gap is high, how do we resolve it. Those will be done in our next presentation. So till then, bye, and do subscribe to my channel to get more inputs. Also, if you have any doubts, please feel free to comment on this, and I hope I can resolve it. Thank you.